How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Two Bros Sports Podcast. I am your host, Hunter Smith, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, Dakota Smith. How you doing tonight, Dakota?
Doing pretty good. You've made me sit on these for like 3 days, and you're making me question everything I think about the NBA. Since somebody had decided he wanted to get sick over the weekend, and we couldn't do this on Thursday when I sat down, I did all of this, and now I've had to watch 3 days of basketball, and now I'm questioning everything. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Well, I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna, for some of these teams, I'm gonna kind of ignore their start. For some of them, I'm going to like factor it in a little bit, but we'll see. I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy this. This should be some good content.
Most teams, obviously, 3 games in, like a few of them 2 games, but I was a little under the weather, so we couldn't get this out any sooner. My bad. Literally didn't have a voice basically, so but we're here. We're back for some NBA action. And just for future reference, these episodes are going to start becoming more of answering questions and things like that, and going over certain events that happen over the week or over the few days over the course of games. So if you have any ideas, let us know. But today we're going to be going over our season predictions for the conferences, the rewards, and so let's get started. We're going to start with the conference predictions, actually. And I figured we'd go whichever conference. Which one do you want to do first, East or West?
On my sheet, I have the East first, so let's just go with the East.
Right.
That makes it easier.
So
it doesn't really matter, but
we'll pick 15, and then 14 down. We'll start.
Oh God, you wanted me to do all of it? I just had the playoffs.
Oh, you just had the playoffs? No, it's the whole thing.
I just did the playoffs. Oh, you're gonna have to like give me a minute here. Goodness gracious, why are we doing all of them?
Because you got to predict the whole thing, dude.
I'll predict the playoff. That's about all I'm confident in. I ain't confident in anything anymore. I'm just gonna wing it. You're gonna go first. No, just go 50. You go your 15. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna tell you until I get to 10. I'll wing the rest of it, and I'll just add them as we go down.
My 15 for the Eastern Conference, it's gonna be the Orlando Magic. That's the bottom of the East for me. A couple bright sides in the team, though. I mean, Paulo looks amazing, so that's good. But still a young team.
Yeah, I we're on the same boat there. I think they're at the bottom.
Yep.
I think they're at the bottom. I'll just agree with you on that one. I think the bottom 3 in the East are probably, now that I look at this, are probably pretty easy.
Well, 14, I have the Pacers.
I also, just quickly doing this, I also have the Pacers. And I'm guessing at 13 you probably have Detroit.
No, I do not.
Oh, you went with Washington, didn't you?
I have the Wizards at 13 and the Pistons at 12.
Okay.
I like Jaden Ivey a lot, and I like that backcourt.
I just like Washington's experience. I think Washington can contend for. Okay, who am I missing? That's my problem with doing this right now. Is there are teams that are up there right now that I don't think are going. Oh, the Knicks. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go right here.
Okay. For the final spot outside of the play-in and the playoffs, I have the Charlotte Hornets. I like LaMelo Ball. I do like the team, but I'm wondering how much Bridges not there is gonna hurt them.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
So
I put Charlotte at 12, Washington at 11. Or Charlotte at 12, but Charlotte 12, Washington 11. I'm losing my mind over here. Things that happen when you did not know you had to do all the 15. Okay.
Well, I said the conference.
Yeah, you said the conference. Yeah, I just assumed that meant the playoffs. The things that matter.
Hey, it matters. This is Victor Wembanyama they're going for here.
Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Oh God, this one's the West.
Well, you have your top 10, don't you?
Yeah, the West. Yeah, I have my top 10 for the East that I just amended. I had Charlotte at 10. I went ahead and changed that.
Who do you got for 10?
New York, the Knicks. I have the Knicks at 10.
I got the Raptors. I like Siakam. I like Van Vliet, and Barnes. I like the team, but I think they're going to sneak into a play-in this year.
Well, I have them finishing better than New York, or I have Toronto better than New York, so I have New York at the 10. It's not that I don't like the Knicks. I think the Knicks can be really good, and I think they can challenge to get into the actual playoffs. Like I think that's a very viable possibility for them.
Yeah.
I
They
think
looked
10
good first couple games.
Yeah, they haven't looked terrible. I haven't got to watch a whole lot. I'll be honest. I watched some opening night. I watched some of the Clippers Lakers game, but I haven't watched a whole lot yet. But Phoenix and Golden State play tomorrow night. That'll be a fun game to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna go right there. I'm gonna stick with that.
Well, going off of your 10 spot at 9, I have the New York Knicks, who I do also agree that can contend possibly for a top 6 and not play in the play-in. But this is also a team who could miss the playoffs.
I don't disagree with you there. I think I like them. Like I do, but I'm going Chicago at 9. I'm not sold on Chicago.
Yeah.
I think Lonzo Ball is way more important than people give him credit for.
Absolutely.
Because defensively they're terrible. Like this team's going to struggle to stop people. Like they're going to struggle on the defensive end. They're going to be able to score, but the question is how consistently. Like, yeah, Vooch isn't a great defensive center. There's a lot of really good big men in the East, and I'm not sold on Chicago. I think Chicago could fall all the way out. I think that's a possibility for them. I think 9's probably where they're at right now, but if things don't break their way, it could be bad for the Bulls, and they could end up with a lottery pick.
Yeah, well, I'll give you my take on Chicago because they're number 8 for me, and I think like you said, Lonzo Ball is way more important than some people think, and I think Patrick Williams needs to develop this year. I think this has got to be a year where he's got to show some obvious improvement, and he's gonna have to be that defensive guy for him.
I agree, and I think they spent too much capital on him draft wise to not get something out of him by this point. Like you need something now out of Patrick Williams. I'll just segue into my 8. I'm going with Cleveland. I'm going Cleveland to 8. Garland's hurt right now, but that doesn't look like it's going to be anything too serious.
Yeah,
and the East is just stacked. Like that's the problem. Like I think Cleveland's a good team, but I just think this is right around where they're at. They're like the middle of the pack in the East, because I think the East is very top heavy. I think there's maybe 4 teams, maybe 3. I think that can win the East. So I got Cleveland at the 8.
Who's your 7? Because mine might be a little controversial.
I went Toronto at 7.
Yep.
I went Toronto at 7. I really like the Raptors. I just think they're just solid all the way around. And as long as this Scotty Barnes injury is nothing too serious, Hurt tweaked his ankle. He's not playing tonight. So I like Toronto at the 7 as the first team outside of not having to make the play-in. They're the first team. How would you word that properly? They're the first team in the play-in. So so 7.
Sure.
They're the first top. They're not in the top 6. They have to play their way into the playoffs.
Well, I am coming in with a very, very interesting pick here for number 7.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Brooklyn.
No. I am going with at 7, the 76ers.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a talking point then. Here we go.
I know it's a small sample size, obviously at the beginning of the season, but I have seen a stat where obviously they were, garbage last year, but James Harden wasn't, in shape, things like that. He looks a lot better. He does. He really does. I like Harden. I like Embiid. I like the team. I like Maxey. But my problem is Harden is getting 30, 35 more touches in these first 3 games than all of last season on average than Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's touches have dropped by 10 or 15 in these first 3 games. 2 games they played?
They're playing their 4th game right now.
Yeah, which obviously it's a small sample size, but I also am kind of questioning Doc Rivers as a coach at the moment.
Yeah, All right. Well, we're just gonna spoil this now. Philly's my 2.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think they
I
can
have
be up
I have
there.
Philadelphia at 2.
I think they could be up there, but right now, I just don't know if Doc Rivers is it. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't.
yeah. Remember when I said that at the very
And
beginning,
Embiid has to have more of the ball.
yeah, I was gonna flush the first 3 games with certain teams. Well, this is a team I'm flushing the first 3. Their first 2 games were against Boston and Milwaukee. You're going to get beat by good teams every now and then. Like those are 2 teams that I would expect them to lose a game to every now and then. Like
Yeah.
those 2 teams, San Antonio loss concerned me a little bit, but they're up 12 on Indiana right now. And if there was ever a spot for them to get their first win and get right a little bit, it's against Indiana. So I'm still gonna I'm sticking with Philly at 2. So
All right. Well,
we'll just spoil my 2.
see what happens. But my number 6, I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. I actually really like Atlanta.
I think I'm higher in Atlanta. I have Miami.
Wait, did you
6.
say you're 7?
My 7 was Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My 6 is Miami.
Miami.
I have a feeling we probably have Miami and Atlanta in opposite slots. We're just gonna switch the 2 teams around.
Probably.
You got Miami at 4?
Yes, actually I do.
Yeah, I have Atlanta
at 4.
I have Atlanta at 4. So
I'm definitely not as high on Miami as some people.
I'm gonna laugh because I bet we have the same 5 too. It just makes sense. Like it all just makes sense.
Well,
like,
actually, no, we don't.
Well, it depends on how high you are on the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, because those are the other. There are 3 teams left we have not mentioned, and I have a feeling we have them in the exact same order. I'm just gonna take a stab at it. I bet you have Brooklyn at 5.
Well, who's your number 5?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Cleveland at 5.
Whoa. Okay.
I like the Cavaliers.
Wow.
I like Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley is him. It's simple. Obviously, I've got to, every time we talk about Cleveland, I've got to give Dean Wade credit where credit's due. This team is very deep, I think. I think they have a lot of great role players coming off the bench. You have the experience there in Kevin Love, who is the leader of that team, no matter if he comes off the bench or not. You have Jared Allen, who's protecting the rim. You have Darius Garland, which hopefully the injury is not severe, but that backcourt is deadly.
Oh yeah,
I like Isaac Okoro. I really, really like Cleveland a lot.
I'm not. I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Like I think that's probably the ceiling for Cleveland this year is a 5. So your 1, 2, 3 is probably a lot of people's 1, 2, 3. Then now that I know what it is, I went Brooklyn at 5. I'm not fully convinced. I don't think their depth isn't enough right now to be a top 3 team in the East. I just think their depth isn't very good. And maybe they go out and get somebody. I don't unless one of these young guys steps up and proves they can. And they're not healthy right now either. Seth Curry still hasn't played. Joe Harris just got back, so maybe that makes that rotation look a little bit better. So we'll see. We'll see. I decided Brooklyn at 5 before I saw anything from them, but I think Ben Simmons has to be more involved. I'm pretty sure in the last game he took 3 shots. That
it wasn't very many, I think.
Yeah, he's not looking to score much at all. And I mean, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I mean, you don't really have to, but at some point he's going to need to become a scoring threat, or we're going to see what happened. What happened in Philly is what's going to happen in Brooklyn. They're just going to not play defense on him unless he's in the paint. So I think Ben Simmons is the key to that team. And if he can just develop just that much of a jump shot, like
if he could just hit a wide open one every 1 out of 3.
Yeah, it was like literally if he could get on par shooting threes with the Giannis, like you at least with Giannis now you have to respect it a little bit. Like if you just had to respect it a little bit. God, so I got Brooklyn at 5, and you said you had Miami at 4.
Yeah, so my 4 was Miami. This is a regular season basketball team. I don't think they're meant for the playoffs. So I think they'll do good in the regular season, but I think time playoffs come around, it might be a first round exit.
I think as well. So you think Cleveland can end up in the second round? Okay, I like that. So my 4 was Atlanta. I love this backcourt.
I love the Hawks. The backcourt's amazing.
This backcourt is arguably one of the best in the league right now. It's on par with some of the best in the league right now, and if they continue to gel, then I think they're only going to get better. I think this team's only going to get better as the season goes on, as they spend more time. But that starting lineup, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Clint Capella. Yeah, I think that's going to be a force to be reckoned with later on. Especially in the playoffs. Those are outside of Capella, all those guys are young. If they can stay healthy, you can get those guys 38 minutes a game in the playoffs. Yeah, I think they're going to be very, very solid throughout the year. And that division's kind of soft too. Outside of Miami, that division's pretty soft. So, like I said, I like Atlanta to win that division. So I'm going to go with Atlanta at 4.
My number 3 is the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm sorry, but when you have Kevin Durant on your team, I think anything is possible. And let's be honest, Kyrie Irving is box office. I mean, if he came to OKC, if the Nets came to OKC, and even if it's just Kyrie on the team, heck, I'd go watch a game. It's Kyrie Irving. He's an absolute star in this league. And I think I agree with what Stephen A's been saying over the past couple months. What we have to do now as an NBA community and as NBA fans is we have to just leave the past in the past. Let's move forward with Kyrie Irving. Let's forget about it. And let's just watch him ball. He's one of the best point guards in the league right now. I don't care what anybody says. And he will give you a bucket whenever he can. And it's like you said earlier, I think Ben Simmons is the key to this team. This team is very good defensively, I think.
Oh, actually. Yeah.
I think offensively, when you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and spot-up shooters like Seth Curry and Joe Harris, this team is very dangerous.
Yeah. I question their depth. And that bench could get better as the season goes on. And my 3 is the defending Eastern Conference champions, the Boston Celtics.
Ooh.
I think Philly, and spoiler alert, we probably both have Milwaukee or do you have Milwaukee at 1? Or do you have Boston at 1?
So I have Boston at 2 and then Milwaukee at 1.
Okay, we had the same. Okay. So now we can just talk this through the rest of the way. I like, but don't get me wrong. I like Boston. They're a really good team. I haven't picked 3rd in the conference for a reason. I just think Milwaukee and Philadelphia are better. I think Philly, they've struggled early. I think they're going to take a huge step this year with Harden. But for Philly, it's all about the guys that surround them. Harden and Embiid, you know what you're going to get. What are you going to get from Tobias Harris? What are you going to get from Tyrese Maxey? What are you going to get out of those guys? I think PJ Tucker is a great addition to that team.
That's a great signing.
I think he was a great signing, and I think he's going to make a difference on the defensive end of the floor. Again, it's going to come down to how good is their bench.
Yeah.
Because their starting 5 rivals is one of the best in the league. But I think it's on Tyrese Maxey. He's got to be the point. I don't know whether they're going to play him as. I haven't got to watch Philly a whole lot. I haven't got to watch a whole lot of basketball yet.
Watching them right now.
Where are you watching them at?
Next question.
Okay.
So, so for my 2, I do have the Celtics and the Bucks at 1, and I love Boston. I think Udoka is going to be a little bit of a loss, but I think they have a very good replacement in Mazzulla. So, obviously Jason Tatum is extremely good at the whole basketball thing. When you have Tatum and Jaylen Brown and you still have Marcus Smart, you got Malcolm Brogdon, who's been coming off the bench to start the season, who's looked pretty dang good. I really like the Celtics. And I think when Robert Williams comes back, obviously that's going to be a huge boost to the defensive end of the floor, especially. And then you move on to Milwaukee, who I have at 1, and you think Chris Middleton's back. And that's what you think. Yeah. If Chris Middleton back. If Chris Middleton's there last year, they're in the NBA Finals, and I don't think there's a question about it.
No,
and obviously, Giannis is Giannis.
Yeah, we've both thought that about Milwaukee since it happened. Like, Middleton is the key to that team that isn't Giannis. You know what you're getting out of Giannis every single night. But you got to have that other scoring threat that isn't Drew Holiday. And I think Chris Middleton is a perfect complementary piece to Giannis. And when he's not in, you can tell. They're still a great team without Chris Middleton. But Chris Middleton makes a huge difference on this team. And I think people need to respect Chris Middleton a little bit because I think you and I have talked about it many times before that he is the reason they weren't in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
That team is so much better with Chris Middleton. Are we going to pick the playoff matchups or are we just going to go what team I think is going to come out of the East?
Yeah, well, we'll get to the NBA Finals predictions after we do the West.
Okay, you want to do the West first?
Western Conference, starting off at 15. Do you have them up now for your?
Yeah. I did them while you were talking.
All right,
I did them while we went through
15, the first. It's got to be the Spurs for me.
Oh,
there's no Devin. Is it Vassell?
It's Vassell.
Vassell. Okay, I was one of the two. He's looked really good actually. He's looked like a bright piece, but they're in the Wembanyama race, and I can't see them being very good.
Yeah, I flip-flopped on this one when I was doing it just real quick, but Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma City at 15. I just think they're going to find excuses not to play people. They're going to find excuses not to play Shea. They're going to find excuses not to play Giddy, and they're just going to go full tank mode. This team probably won't win 20 games this year. I just don't think this team wins 20 games.
Whoa.
Like with the way things are headed right now, I just do not think that if Shea wants to, if Shea is any way dinged up at all, he's probably not going to play. If Giddy is any way dinged up at all, he's probably not going to play.
If any of them are, honestly.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to not play guys. Like
and this is where Adam Silver's talking about tanking, and he said they're keeping a watch out for it because they know, and he said he understands. And when you have a generational talent, but he said at the same time, and I saw this actually, Adam Silver was talking about, I don't know if you guys know how European soccer, it's football, works, but basically in different countries, there's different leagues. I'm gonna use England as an example, and there's a ton of leagues. And there's relegation and promotion, and teams from the bottom divisions come up, teams from the top division get relegated. And he brought that in as an idea for the G League, but he's also talked about how that can really mess up some of the way the NBA is looked at and how it kind of adjusts, because obviously the G League teams are not going to be able to compete at an NBA level. It's not possible.
No. I think that's a far-fetched idea. You would have to get the G League at a much higher level. Like you can throw you can throw a championship team into the Premier League and they'll contend a little bit. They'll put up a fight against some teams, but are they going to beat I'm not going to say much because Nottingham beat Liverpool this week, which was nuts. We haven't talked about that at all, but they can beat teams. Like they're going to contend.
Yeah.
Like a bottom table team can contend with the top table team. You bring a G League team into the NBA, they're going to get waxed every single night.
Oh yeah.
Like you could give me the best G League players and they probably still aren't going to be beat the best NBA team or the worst NBA team. Like they're just not. Like there's a reason the G League is there. It's like minor league baseball. Like I heard that and my immediate reaction was it's not realistic. Same. Until you elevate the talent level of the G League. It's just not realistic at all.
Yeah. Moving back on track here. 14, I actually have the Utah Jazz. I do not believe in this 3-0 start. I'm going to throw this out the window immediately. And the Utah Jazz will finish bottom 2.
I went San Antonio at 14. I just have I'm going to add Keldon Johnson's looked really good too. I really like Kel. I think they have a lot of really good young pieces, but they just don't have a star. And when you lack a star, it's really hard to win some nights because there's a lot of nights you just need that one guy to go get you something, and they don't really have that guy.
Oh, there's a team we'll talk about later who has that one guy.
There's a lot of teams in the West that have that one guy.
For 13 here, I'm going with the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
I love Jalen Green. I love Kevin Porter. This team is extremely young, and I like it a lot. Jabari Smith is there. Obviously, you got Josh Christopher. You lost Christian Wood. Whatever. I mean, obviously he's good, but this is a very young team. And in a 4 or 5 years, who knows? This Rockets team could maybe contend.
Yeah, because they're going to have a top 5 pick this year too. Because
Yep.
I also have Houston at 13.
Yeah.
They're young. That's all really you could say about them, is that they just need time to develop.
Exactly. 12 for me. I've got your bottom. I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder at 12. And that is because of Shea and Josh Giddey. And these two are triple double machines if they really wanted to on any given night. I like Poku. But at the same time, this is a team who could fall rock bottom.
Yep. I went with Utah. I'm a little bit more skeptical about this start. Like, they're not bad. They're not. I mean, they beat Denver. Denver's supposed to be really good. Like, I know you're going to steal one every now and then, but like the pieces aren't awful. Like, Lauri Markkanen was a lottery pick. I get it. He's not great right now. Like, Colin Sexton, lottery pick.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk, yeah, not big on him. Jared Vanderbilt, rebounding machine. Good defense. Like, I don't think this team's going to be good defensively in the paint at all, because Kelly Olynyk is
absolutely not.
No. God, they're going to struggle with.
He'll just go truck somebody if he needs to.
Okay, so who have they beat? Let's just take a look at who they've beat.
In the Nuggets game, did Jamal Murray play?
Yes, yeah, Jamal Murray's. They have beat the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Pelicans.
There's actually 3 pretty good wins.
Those are 3 teams that I have all in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Those are 3 teams that I have. Let's just see. I have all those teams 8 or higher.
Yep.
By the way, I have fully jumped on the Minnesota bandwagon. I'm much higher on Minnesota now than I was before. now that I've got a chance to think about it.
Who do you got for 11 here?
11. Oh, that's the Excel button, not the Word button, Dakota. I've done that like 7 times. Sacramento.
Same, actually. Yeah, I also got the Kings.
I think this is the point where you start talking of legitimate teams who can actually make the playoffs. I think the Kings have have enough talent to make the playoffs. Keegan Murray's healthy now. He had some COVID stuff he had to deal with, but that got that out of the way.
Yeah.
And obviously they got blown out. They got beat by Golden State. They made that a game late that they gave up 80. Golden State dropped 89 in the first half against Sacramento last night.
And they also gave up 70s though.
Yeah, I know. I'm also aware of that. We're just going to ignore the fact they gave. Well, when you score 89, you're going to give up that much because you're just naturally getting more possessions. Okay.
Well, here we go.
I have a feeling this is going to be a hot talking point.
Number 10. I believe we do have the same team as I think you were saying earlier. So, I don't know how far-fetched this is to some people, but to me, this is not far-fetched. The Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep. There we go.
LeBron, I'm sorry. AD, I'm sorry. Lonnie Walker, I'm sorry, but you have nobody else.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Russell Westbrook does not fit into this team at all.
Wow.
LeBron James on the Lakers' shooting struggles said this, and I quote, "We can't shoot a penny in the ocean."
Well, he's not wrong.
The Lakers are shooting 25 for 118 from deep this season.
And well, just look at the one that Nurkic left Davis wide. That was wide open from the corner.
There's
That's
a clip of Nurkic literally looking at Anthony Davis in the corner as he caught it and turning around saying, "I got the board." So Los Angeles Lakers may not even make the playoffs. I'm sorry, LeBron.
And if you haven't seen the clip, it went off the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
It's not pretty in LA right now. They gotta find someone who can. They need to trade Russell Westbrook. I think
the only way I see this team getting higher up is if they trade. They have
to trade. Patrick Beverley can't make anything. Westbrook can't make anything. The only scoring is
said, "Let me pull it from the logo," and airballed it by 5 feet. So I mean,
well, Well, we've seen LeBron do that before. Nothing, not a new sight there.
I don't know if you saw the clip of the side by side where it was LeBron and AD at half court and Russell Westbrook taking the pull up at the end of the game, which might have been a questionable shot. I'm not saying it's a bad shot because that shot is butter for Russell Westbrook when he was in OKC and things like that. A mid range pull up, but that was in OKC. So, but the thing is, the clip is Russell Westbrook taking that pull up and LeBron and AD both going and
Yep.
running back. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. I just don't know what to do.
They need to
This
trade
Lakers
him,
team is
and they're not
they
going to
got to
get
make
any.
something happen.
Do they even get a first for Westbrook now?
Maybe
what? Maybe
if you
one.
trade him to like the Pacers or something, which they tried to.
I don't
Miles
want them to
Turner and
trade.
Buddy
I
Hield.
don't want them to trade him to the Pacers. I want Tyrese Halliburton to be the point guard.
Oh, imagine if they picked up Halliburton. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, imagine that. Like he's like the perfect person to fit in there. Like he's a great distributor.
Doesn't fit.
Yeah, and I don't
Doesn't fit.
I don't like where that team's at right now. I'm just not a fan of it. But I think they can get it together.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry. LeBron James is LeBron James. I still respect LeBron enough for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if LeBron or AD get hurt, this is they're done. They're toast.
Oh, they're screwed.
They are toast if LeBron or AD get hurt. So,
well, number 9.
This
might have the same one.
This is where the West got hard for me. This is where the West got really hard.
This is the team where I was talking about that one guy. I have the Portland Trailblazers.
We all, yep, we do have the same 9.
So Damian Lillard is reminding everybody, all of you, that he is that guy. He's put up 241 bombs. He's averaging 35 or whatever through 3 games, which I get it's 3 games, whatever. But like he's put up 241 pieces. In the first 3 games of the season, Damian Lillard is showing everybody that he's back.
Dame gonna Dame. Dame is going to Dame
in that fourth quarter against the Lakers too.
Oh my gosh, he is. Yeah, Damian Lillard is that guy. Like we've always known that, and I think Anthony Simons is going to like fully step into that CJ McCollum role this year.
Yeah,
they're very comparable players. So I think Simon steps into that role. I've always liked Nurkic. I like Josh Hart. I like Jeremy. I think that starting 5 is really good. Like, and I think health wise, it's all dependent on health. It's who can stay healthy. And I think if you're Portland, I think you do consider with the Dame's injury history, maybe resting him a couple times throughout the year. Rest him 5 or 6 times. Just give him a night off. Let the young guys play. You throw Simons at point guard and you start Shaedon Sharpe and get him some minutes. Just to take some pressure off of Dame.
Yeah, and I think this team is also a team that can miss the playoffs because it's the fact that Damian Lillard's had to put up 41 twice, and they've won close games. They all have been very close games.
But that's fine. I'm okay with that. You're going to have to win close games. Like that's just going to be a thing. Like they're going to have to win close games, and a lot of the games in the league are close. So but yeah, I get what you're saying. That if Dame has to put up 41 for them to stay close, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
But I think Simons has to be that second scorer.
Yeah.
And I like Anthony Simons. I want him to be good. Like I really want him to be good. I think Portland being good and in the playoffs is good. Because you talked about Kyrie being box office, so is Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
Like Damian Lillard's a guy I would love to watch in person.
Yeah. Who's your 8?
My 8 is the Pels.
I have the Pelicans at 8 here. So
I had from 8. Okay, right here was pretty easy, but 7 and up in the West is so hard.
Yeah, even 8 and up is kind of hard.
I didn't have a problem putting New Orleans at 8. I thought that's about where they should be. That's a couple steps up from where they were last year, and you add in that they have Zion.
Yeah, I think that's the key.
Ingram got put in concussion protocol. So
I think the key is health. And I think the key specifically is Zion's health.
You got to sit him, right? You have to sit him sometimes, right?
At some point. You're going to have to, I think.
I think you sit him at least once every 10 games.
Watch him carefully.
Especially like back-to-backs. Maybe you don't play Zion.
Yeah.
on every back-to-back, especially late in maybe even just late in the year. You wait until like 50 games in and you just start resting, especially if they're in a good position at 50 games in. Maybe you start resting him on back-to-backs just to keep him fresh for the playoffs. Because this is the team who I would be terrified of in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would not want to face him.
I would not want to play this team in the playoffs.
Especially in a play-in game and a one-game elimination.
You saw them put up a fight against Phoenix as the 8 last year. Like they gave Phoenix a run for their money,
didn't they? Or did it go 6?
6 or 7. But they pushed Phoenix without Zion.
Yeah,
like without Zion, I love it. I love the West. I think the West, these teams are just going to beat up on each other. I really like where things are at.
For number 7 here, I have a team that I may not be as high on as you, but I got the Timberwolves.
Okay, we are a little bit different. I went with Dallas at 7.
Yeah.
I had to put someone there, and I jumped higher on Minnesota, but like I can't drop Phoenix that far. I don't think I can with Jokic and with Murray back. I don't think I can drop Denver that far. So I had to drop Dallas that far, and that pains me because Luka Doncic is my hero. He may be like 8 or 9 years younger than me, but God, I love the way that Luka plays basketball. Yeah. And it was hard for me to not pick Luka at MVP. I don't have Luka picked at MVP.
Yeah. Well, he's I think the best odds at the moment.
Oh yeah. He's the favorite to win MVP, which he should be. I think he should be. But
the Timberwolves though, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Again, small sample size, I get it, but D'Angelo Russell's that ankle breaker was disgusting. By the way, whoever that was that he broke went flying, and then obviously Anthony Edwards and running the Twin Towers there in the paint, it's good. I like the Timberwolves.
I just think that team's going to be so good defensively. They're going to be so hard to score on. Like with Gobert, I'm coming around on Minnesota now. So we'll get there later.
Well, welcome back. 40 minutes on Zoom. So we're here. Moving to the 6th seed for the West, as we left off at the 7, ending off in the 7. My 6th seed is the Mavericks. I love me some Luka Doncic. He's going to be a front runner for MVP probably. And I like Christian Wood too, but obviously the depth is kind of a question for me in Dallas at the moment.
I agree. I got the same points on Dallas. Like Luka's great, and Christian Wood, but then outside of that, where do you go? Like no, I didn't get to make that point, but I went with Denver. Like I said, this top 6 and this top 7 in the. Who do you put in front? Who do you put behind them? Well, you put Minnesota. Spoiler alert: I don't have Minnesota that low. I had to put Denver right here. I didn't want to put Denver right here, but I just think there's teams that are better than them. And you have a team I have in front of them who got their best player back. I had to put them up there because I think they should be up there. But I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love Denver. I love Jamal Murray. I just hope he's a shadow. I hope he's as healthy. I hope he looks as good as he was when he was healthy. Because bubble Jamal Murray was just different.
Yeah. Obviously a long time out for him, but
yeah, I just hope he's close to the same player. I mean, coming off an injury like that, you don't expect him to fully be the same player, but I hope he's still, if he's 80% of what he was, Denver's going to be really good.
Well, number 5 for me, and I really like this team, but I've got the Memphis Grizzlies.
You are much lower on Memphis than I am.
So, well, the thing is, I'm really high on Memphis actually, but this top 6 is really hard.
It is hard. It is really hard.
But I love John Morant. Dylan Brooks is a defensive machine. I don't think he's playing right now. I could be wrong.
He was a game time decision tonight. I don't know whether he ended up playing or not.
Triple J, I love him. This team is so good defensively.
Agreed.
And they are some dogs.
They're going to be better when they get Triple J back. He's out right now. I can't remember how long he's out for, but when they get him back,
crazy one, but
I don't think it is either.
Desmond Bane and stuff. I love the look of this team, and I think they can go far, but I just don't know how much a regular season team they'll be. Because I think when this team gets into the playoffs, I think they just click differently, and I think they just lock in so fully that it's gonna be really hard to stop them.
All right. I don't like this at 5. I don't at all because I respect this team a lot. But Phoenix, I have Phoenix at 5.
Okay.
I just again, like you're picking at, like, this is so small margins with teams in the West. Like, one injury changes all of this completely. Like,
Oh yeah,
one
absolutely.
injury changes all of this completely. But I just think that's where Phoenix should be slotted. I think the 4 teams in front of them are just a little bit better than them. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. Okay, I think 1 in the West is very clear. And I think 1 in the West is clear, and I don't think it's
Okay,
close.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
I think 1 in the West is clear, and I don't think it's close. That's
Well,
I'm probably a little bit biased, and you know who I'm talking about.
okay.
But I just think 2 through 5 in the West are very similar.
Yeah.
I have a hard time deciding between 2 through 5. So I threw Phoenix here.
Well,
So I like
my
Booker.
number 4 is Phoenix.
Okay.
So Devin Booker's him. He's a bucket getter, and he's decent enough at defense. Chris Paul is a point guard machine. He just got his 11,000th career assist last night on an alley-oop, I believe, to Ayton. So that's amazing for Chris Paul. I love Ayton. My question still is, how much is Ayton gonna care, especially when trade rumors start to come up, if they do, especially when the trade deadline gets close. I think he's gonna go out there and he's gonna ball. I mean, he's gonna give you his numbers. He's gonna give you like 15 rebounds a night. But Mikal Bridges, I'm very high on him. I think
I am too.
He's a perfect player into this Phoenix offense, and he's a great defender. So I got Phoenix at 4.
I have Minnesota at 4.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I told you my opinion changed on Minnesota after just reading a little bit and kind of just putting more thought into it. I think this team is so good. There are 4 like legit studs on this team, but the question is, who's going to be the leading scorer on this team? It's Towns, right? It's Towns or Edwards.
Actually, I was thinking maybe
it's Towns or Edwards. James Harden's going nuts. Tonight. That's why I'm not worried about Philly. Yeah, I love Minnesota. I think they're just going to be hard to score on. I think defensively, this team's going to be fantastic. And yeah. I think this trade will work out. And this is also a team I would not want to play in a 7-game series. I would really not want to play Memphis in a 7-game series.
I hate to see him in a play-in.
Yeah, that's how you have them that far? Do you have them at 7?
Yeah.
Oh, we deferred a little bit, so this is pretty good. All right, where are you at for 3?
My God, James Harden hit a pull-up 3. Jesus. 3, I got the Denver Nuggets. Okay. I'm very high on Jamal Murray. I love him. I missed him in the NBA. And I think if Jamal Murray, wait, did he break him? Oh my God. Oh, Benedict Mathurin just got his ankles taken.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway, Jamal Murray is, I mean, if, like you kind of said, if he's anything like himself, just 90%, this team can win a championship, in my opinion. Nikola Jokic is gonna be Nikola Jokic. He's a triple-double machine.
Yep.
Night in, night out. But I like the Nuggets a lot, and I think they're going to do very well this year.
All right. Clippers at 3. That's where I went with 3. Yeah. We talked about I went with the Clippers at 3. Kawhi's one of the best players in the league. I don't think we need to doubt that. And when you get one of the best players in the league back, yeah. I don't think Reggie Jackson is their starting point guard for the whole season. I think once John Wall gets into game shape, I think John Wall is their starting point guard. Because by the way, I watched some of that Clippers-Lakers game. he looked a lot like John Wall.
He looks a lot like
He looks a lot like old John Wall. And
I love it.
Even if they can just get 25 to 28 minutes of that John Wall, this team's dangerous.
Yeah.
This team should scare people a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And there's one other team as a Warriors fan that scares me more than this one. But I love the Clippers at 3. This got so hard up top. Like, they got so.
Who's your 2?
Memphis.
Memphis.
Yeah. Memphis scared me to death. This team's. I think Ja's an outside shot for MVP.
No, I think he is too. Actually,
I think really Ja's an outside. I think Ja's on the outside for MVP. He's one of those guys who I just think they can win it. Like, and I respect Ja Morant so much. Desmond Bain can shoot with the best of them.
So
this team 1 through 5 in their depth is so good. I'm
gonna let you give me your 1, 2 before I give you mine. My 2 and 1.
Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? There's only one team I haven't mentioned.
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, it's the defending NBA champions. You think I'm not picking the Warriors to win the West? You're insane. Well, I thought this was too easy.
I have the Warriors at 2 and the Clippers at 1.
Okay, I understand it.
I think Kawhi Leonard is that good, and I think Paul George is that good. And John Wall, the way he's looking right now through preseason and stuff, he's looking like John Wall. And obviously, I'm a Warriors fan. It was kind of hard to pick him at 2, but like, obviously the Warriors are gonna be the Warriors. I don't think that Draymond punching pool is gonna have any effect in this team. Obviously, there's a little bit of stuff you see sometimes where it's like, oh, Draymond didn't high five him here or pulled in whatever. It's like Clay said, the moment they got those rings, it's all back to normal.
Yep, exactly.
Which, by the way, the rings looks absolutely fabulous, and the way it opens up at the top, and you can see that.
I was really glad the ring ceremony took as long as it did because I was working, so I got home like as the second quarter was starting. It was great. I was very happy that it took as long as it did because I looked down after our soccer game got over. I was like, oh wow, they haven't even started yet. Let's go.
Yeah, it was like it didn't start like 10:15. So. But yeah, I got the Warriors at 2. I got the Clippers at 1. Obviously, I think this top 5 can really be shaken up.
I do too.
I think a lot of the Western Conference and Eastern Conference can be shaken up. But I think the Clippers are going to be really good this season. I think they're going to be really dangerous. And I think that Clippers team is going to be very good defensively. I mean, you have 2 guys, maybe 3 if I'm forgetting some role player on the bench or something, who can guard LeBron and who can guard Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So I like the Clippers this year.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Who are you picking out of the East?
Out of the East, I have the team who a lot of people say they just can't get it together, but I've got the Brooklyn Nets versus the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals.
I knew you couldn't help yourself.
Well, no, I was going to tell them anyway. It doesn't even matter. Like, I've got the Warriors to win it all on repeat.
Well, I'm glad we're both on that same boat because I'm going to rock with Philly. I have Philly and Golden State in the finals. How many games does it go? How many? I think it goes at least. They go at least. I think with Philly, I think it goes 6.
Against Philly, I think 6. Against the Nets, I want to say 7.
Okay.
I think the Nets is a tougher matchup.
Yeah. So we didn't differ on that. That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
Not at all with the way we think.
Well,
where do you want to start?
Let's give some unpredictable teams this year. Do you have any teams this year that you think could be very unpredictable?
The Lakers.
You think the Lakers? I think the Lakers are 1 too.
And the Lakers. Man, unpredictable.
I think the Bulls are 1.
I think the Bulls are 1 too, depending on their health.
I think the Timberwolves as well. And I'm going to give you one more, which is kind of awkward for me to say since I have got them in the finals. But I think the Brooklyn Nets are very unpredictable.
I think they'll be very up and down.
Kyrie's stuff in the past, so
I think Brooklyn will be very up and down. I think you're right. I think they're going to have some off nights, but that's just the league. It's just you play. It's a long year, and you're going to have a couple. I think Philly's getting this down stretch. They're going to get out of this. They're going to get back in rhythm. If Harden continues to play like this, watch out.
Like he's tonight.
like he's going to be MVP Harden.
Yeah.
or he might actually contend for one this year again. I I don't. I feel like a lot of these teams are very very predictable. I don't know what to do with some of these teams.
Yeah.
I think a team like Utah could be very like they could go on runs like this and beat really good teams, but then they could lose 2 or 3 in a row. Like I think that's a big we'll see. But.
Yeah. Well, getting to the awards of this for the NBA season 2022-23, we're going to give you our, in this order, most improved, coach of the year, DPOY, ROY, and MVP. So starting off with most improved, who do you got, Dakota?
Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think that's a secret.
Good one.
I don't think that's a secret. The step he is going to take this year. I love Tyrese. I love Tyrese Halliburton. I think Sacramento made a mistake, a huge mistake.
Yep.
You let your better player of the two go.
I say that De'Aaron Fox is shooting.
He's been great. He's been great. I just think the ceiling on Halliburton is higher. I think the ceiling on him is way higher.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of him since I figured out who he was. He played at Iowa State, right? I feel like I should remember him if he played at Iowa State because he would have.
Yeah, he played at Iowa State.
Yeah, I mean he was the 12th pick in 2020.
Yep, and you adored his My Team card.
I did. His release was great, but I love Halliburton.
I'm gonna give you my pick, and I'm gonna go with Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
I think
I feel like that's another one that's going to be up there.
And I think RJ Barrett is too, actually. But I went with Brunson, and I think this year the thing is to stick him out in the race of most improved is he's going to be playing more minutes, which allocates for more points. I think he's going to have to average more than 16.3 last year with Dallas. He averaged 5 assists last year and 4 rebounds. I think he's going to average like 8 assists and like 5 rebounds. So I think Jalen Brunson is my most improved prediction at the moment. However, I'm going to throw out a name here because I really like the way he looks right now. And my name thrown out here is Lonnie Walker.
That's interesting.
As a most improved. Now, he averaged 12 last year with the Spurs. He did only play 70 games. But he averaged 12, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. And right now he's averaging 15, 3 and 3. But he's actually been a big part of this Lakers team. He was guarding Steph on opening night. So I think he's going to play a lot of that main defensive guy on the wing. And I don't know. I like Lonnie Walker as just like a secret pick.
That's fair. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I think I'm just looking at odds here. I think a guy like RJ Barrett is a good one. I also like Anthony Simons too. I think Simons would be, just having not thought about it a whole lot, because that was one you kind of sprung on me. I forgot about most improved when I did mine. But yeah.
Moving to coach of the year here. Now I don't know if I don't think coach of the year ever is just really obvious until like way later in the year.
I think you're right.
I'm going with Joe Mazzulla.
I figured
I'm going with the Boston Pistons coach. And I think the reason for it is because I think he's going to keep this team afloat all year, and I don't think this team's going to change much. I think he's going to lead this team again into a couple rounds of the playoffs through the first, maybe back to conference finals. We'll see. Maybe even the NBA finals again. I mean, I think he's my really high prediction.
I went not quite off the board. I went with Chris Finch, the head coach of the Timberwolves. I think they're going to be. I have it down. I had it down to 2. I had it down to Willie Green from New Orleans and Chris Finch from Minnesota. I think whichever one of those teams finishes higher is probably where the coach of the year is going to come from. Yeah. And for me, it came down to that. And I have Minnesota finishing as the 4 seed, so I'm going to go with Chris Finch.
It's a good one. Defensive player of the year here, DPOY. We might have the same guy.
Oh, I didn't have to think. I didn't have to think too much on this one. Yeah, this is the obvious. Gobert.
Yeah. I've got Rudy Gobert as well.
I went with Gobert.
I'm sorry. He just protects the paint so well, and he gets blocks per game. His blocks per game actually show. So,
I mean,
yeah,
if
I
you
think
want,
Rico
and if
Bear's
you want to go a
obvious.
little off the board with that one, because I thought he probably should have won this last year over Marcus Smart. I think Mikal Bridges. If you just want to go just a little bit off
I
the
thought you were
board,
gonna say Bam. I was gonna
Bam's
say Bam.
Bam's third in the odds right now. Bridges is fifth, but the odds are very to get bigger, much bigger as you go toward Bridges. I think Bridges wouldn't be a bad one, but I think Gobert is the obvious pick, and it's kind of where I went with Rookie of the Year too. I feel like there's one very
Oh,
obvious
there's
one, and
very one obvious
I
one.
feel like there's two that have really separated themselves in the first 4 games, 3 or
Yeah,
4
well,
games.
I've gone for my rookie of the year. I'm going with Paulo. Paulo
Yeah.
Benqueto. It's obvious, I think, for
Well,
me.
I had it down to him and Matherin.
Yeah, he's
Matherin's
looked
looked
good.
really
He
good.
just took a horrible
Uh,
shot, but he's looked
I,
good.
I, I think, I think you give Jabari Smith some time. I think he could contend a little bit, and I think if I like Jaden Ivey, I like Jaden Ivey. Any of the top 5 in odds right now are Bankero, Matherin, Keegan Murray, Jaden Ivey, and Jabari Smith.
How about Keegan Murray? Yeah. Um, I think Paulo right now, just looking at it, is the most NBA ready.
He's the best player on his team. I
Yeah,
think that's
and
the biggest difference.
that's the thing. He
He's
also
the
plays
best player
well.
on his team. He's the best player on his team. Like you could argue Matherin could be the
No, he's not
is he the second best? No, he's the second best player on his team.
Halliburton's best player on the team.
I know, but I'm arguing he probably could be the second best player on the Pacers right now, depending on what you think of the Indiana
Maybe.
Pacers.
Yeah.
Which you don't think very highly of the Indiana Pacers, so probably. Like Keegan Murray's maybe the third or fourth best player on that team, depending on how you feel about Harrison Barnes. But
Yeah.
Fox and Sabonis are clearly better just based on merit and what they've shown in the league. And I think we could both agree Cade Cunningham's the best player for Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cade
Okay.
Cunningham probably is.
I just kind of wanted to talk through that real quick.
Yeah.
But and this is where I get to this. I think Jabari Smith. I know how much you love Jalen Green. I think Jabari Smith could end up being he's probably the third best player right now.
I think Porter and Green are better.
I do too, right now. And
yeah.
But I think by the end of the year, Jalen Green's probably the best player on that team.
Yeah. I think
there's another one if you want to go most improved. I think Jalen Green could be up there. It should be up there in that too.
By the way, the Spurs are up 17 on Timberwolves right now.
Goodness gracious.
Anyway, you know what I really like about the NBA season? We're gonna get off track a little bit here, but I don't even care. This is a very unpredictable NBA season. I think this is one of the most NBA seasons where you cannot just say this team's gonna win a championship. There's no super teams. I mean, I don't think there's a team that you could say is a super team in the league this year.
I agree with you.
There is duos, but
and some trios.
There's a
lot of really good trios in the league.
But they're not super teams though. That's what I'm saying.
No. I think if you're gonna obviously Golden, you can argue what you want about Golden State. That team's just low. I just don't think they're not a super team. They're not a super. They're not by definition a super team.
Curry, Clay, Draymond, and Kevin Durant was a super team.
That was a super team. Yes, I agree with you there. So what do we have left?
We got the one and only most valuable player, most valuable player MVP. So I'm gonna throw out some possibilities here. I want everybody to know real quick. The MVP is up for grabs. Immediately out the gate here, it is up for grabs. There's so many good players in the NBA that a lot of it's going to come down to injuries, how far they go in the playoffs, because we know the NBA likes to pick who goes farther, and things like that. So possibilities are, I mean, for me, it's got to be, I mean, you got Luka, you got Giannis, KD, Embiid, Steph, Jokic, LeBron, Irving, Lillard, Harden. Like the list just goes on and on.
Yeah.
You got
Giannis. He's the best player on the planet.
Fair enough.
He's the best player on the planet. Offense, you can't stop him on the offensive end, and he's one of the best defenders in the entire league. Like, you could argue outside of Gobert, he's the best defensive player in the league because he's just so good. He can defend basically not quite 1 through 5, I don't know if you trust him guarding your point guard, depending on who your point guard
would.
is. He can guard anyone. And if he continues to develop that jump shot, good luck. Because you can't stop him at the rim.
Yeah.
You got to, good luck with that. But, yeah, I'm going with Giannis. It was painful. I really wanted to pick Luka. I didn't want to pick the betting favorite, so I went a couple spots down. I didn't go too far down. I picked Giannis.
Well,
my dark horse, though, is James Harden. If he continues to play like this. If he continues to play like this, I like Harden a lot.
Well, I went way down the odds list.
Right. Please tell me you didn't pick Kyrie Irving.
So, actually, I truly believe that Kyrie Irving.
Oh my gosh, you
win
did.
No, you gotta let me finish. No, I didn't pick him. I truly believe Kyrie Irving can win it, and I'd love to see him win it. Like I said, I'm gonna try my hardest, and I think all of us should, to put all the stuff from the past in the past. And I am going to focus on right now because he's box office, and I truly believe he could win it if it was just him in Brooklyn. However, you have another MVP candidate sitting right there whose name is Kevin Durant. So I'm going to go with a player who does not have another player in the MVP race on his team. And this might sound insane, but I'm picking Damian Lillard.
Okay. I respect that a lot. I respect that.
I know it's out of the realm of what most people would think, but if he looks amazing. Damian Lillard looks like he might average 35 the whole season.
If he averages 35, he will win MVP.
And the thing is, the only thing that questions me is people are going to look at the stats and they're going to say, oh, he's only averaging 4 rebounds and only 6 assists. It doesn't matter. You've got to look. I think he's going to carry this team to a play and maybe even a playoff spot as the 6th seed. Damian Lillard is that guy, and I absolutely love Damian Lillard. I know one of my best friends is going to love the fact I'm saying this right now. But Damian Lillard is him. And I think it's simple. He's got ice in his veins. It is Dame time all the time in Portland. I think Damian Lillard is going to win MVP.
I like that a lot. I wasn't going to go that far down. Like, I like Ja. I think Ja's.
I like Ja a lot. I actually almost picked him today.
I like Ja Morant. I wouldn't mind Tatum either. Mm-hmm. I just feel like he'll be up there. Trying to pick guys that aren't I feel like there's an obvious 3 though, right? Like, I think there's
Giannis,
at least
Jokic.
Okay, we'll go 4.
Embiid.
Yeah, Giannis. They have Jokic at 10. I don't like that, but I think if you're just gonna go 2, or you're gonna go 3, it's Doncic, Giannis, and Jokic.
Yeah,
it's the 3 guys who can throw down a triple double any night.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a little worried about picking Damian Lillard, is the fact that they're gonna look at he's not a triple double player every night, like
but he's a completely different player than those 3. Yeah, he's not gonna go get you a triple double, but
and the other
he's also the most likely out of those people to score 50.
Yeah. He's also and the other thing that might hurt him is the fact that his team may not be in the playoffs, or maybe
what seed do you think they would have to get to for Dame to get MVP? The 5,
6, or 5. It has to be 5 or 6, I think.
Okay.
But I don't think they're gonna get that far. But I think the NBA needs to start ignoring records, and I think they need to give it to who the best player was.
I completely 110% agree with you. I'm just looking at this like, yeah, I think I don't mind that pick at all. I really don't. I don't. It's off the board, yes. I didn't go as far off the board, but that's just because I think Giannis is the best player in the league, and I think Giannis is going to win MVP. Not much needs to be said about that, but I agree with you. I think 35 a game?
Yeah.
35 in 6 assists?
6 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds.
3,
maybe a steal.
Maybe 4 rebounds. I think if he gets better on the defensive end, I think that'll help too. But,
yeah.
But like you said, Dame's gonna shoot because there's nobody else there really to take shots from Dame.
Yeah.
I think he's taken 25 shots in his last 2 games. 25 shots in both games of his last 2. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the Spurs started the 3rd quarter on a 14-0 run. They are up 24.
Well, Giannis, you saying Giannis being the best player in the world is maybe a little arguable, but maybe that's a topic for a different day.
I think that's a topic for a different day because I think we could go at that one for a while because I can put up arguments to Giannis too.
Yeah, well,
and I know I have a feeling I know who you would argue me with, but we'll save that for another time. We'll save that for later.
That is going to do it for the NBA predictions of the season. Finally came around. Finally got my voice back a little bit here. So yeah, that was fun. That was a good episode, I think. But that's going to do it for today's episode. And we will see you this upcoming Friday. Like I said, this is going to turn to more of a first take kind of vibe, with questions and things like that throughout the games over the course of the few days in between episodes. And different things sprinkled on in there. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and week. We hope to have you join us next time on the Two Bros Sports Podcast. With that being said, I am your host, Hunter Smith, and goodbye.